there's Rob Schneider sitting there, and there's Steve Buscemi sitting there, and Adam Sandler, and I'm like, it's been 30 years. Are we really still doing this? We're still doing it, though. We're still doing it. Thank you for joining me for yet another episode of the Everyman Movie Review, and happy Halloween. It is almost upon us, and in that spirit, I wanted to bring you a brand new Halloween movie. Now, let me ask you, if I tell you that I have a movie for you that is about Salem, Massachusetts, and a defender working against the forces of evil to protect you and the citizens of Salem on Halloween night, that probably sounds like the perfect horror movie for this time of year. But if I told you it was starring Adam Sandler and his crew and available on Netflix now, you would realize that we're talking about Hubie Halloween this week, and maybe your opinion changes about how scary that proposition is. And I'll be honest and say I had mixed feelings about watching Hubie Halloween, and I always do about Adam Sandler movies. I don't know why. At the close, I want to go in a little bit and talk about Adam Sandler and my feelings about him in general, but I have watched, admittedly, the last 3 or 4 movies that he's been in, that he's put out on Netflix with his exclusive deal, and I don't think I've done reviews of them because it's an Adam Sandler movie, so you know what you're getting, right? But it's Halloween, and I wanted to do a Halloween review, and Hubie Halloween seems like it is the only brand new Halloween movie that is out and around now that I could watch and I could do a review on. And it would be available for you to watch in the next few days leading up to the holiday. But before we get too far in it, let's get through the pleasantries, shall we? Hubie Halloween is directed by Steve Brill. It was written by Tim Hurley and Adam Sandler, and you may not know the name Tim Hurley, but he and Adam have basically written most of Adam's movies. He's basically part of the crew that Adam works with. It is starring Adam Sandler as Hubie Dubois, Kevin James as Sergeant Steve Downey, Julie Bowen as Violet Valentine, Ray Liotta as Mr. Landolpha, Steve Buscemi as Walter Lambert, Rob Schneider as Richie Hartman, Tim Meadows and Maya Rudolph as the Hennessy's, Michael Chiklis as Father Dave, June Squibb as Hubie's mom. And a side note, I knew that I had seen her in something recently, and it was Palm Springs. She was in Palm Springs. She has also been made an appearance in The Room 104, which is an anthology series that I really love. And she is in the movie About Schmidt with Jack Nicholson from 2002, which is probably too long ago for most of you, as well as the movie In and Out from like 1997. And I gotta say, thinking back to In and Out in 97, I think she looks basically the same as she does now. Obviously a little younger then, but not too much different than what she looks like right now. And you probably have no idea who she is, and that's fine, but when you see her, you're gonna be like, oh, her, I know her from stuff. That's the kind of actress that she is. Continuing on, George Wallace as Mayor Benson, Kenan Thompson as Sergeant Blake, Shaquille O'Neal as the DJ Aurora, Noah Schnapp as Tommy, and you'll know Noah from Stranger Things. Oh, I'm sorry, no, you won't know him because he looks so different. You'll have no idea it's him until somebody else points it out. And I'm gonna add in here Lavelle Crawford, who you may not know, but I saw him on screen and I recognized him, and I didn't know what I knew him from. But he has many comedy specials, but they're hilarious, and you should watch him. And finally, Adam Sandler's family makes an appearance in the movie as well, with Jackie Sandler coming in as Tracy Phillips, the news reporter, and his daughter was one of the daughters as well, I'm pretty sure. So Hubie Halloween, if you were looking for a absolutely terrifying horror thriller, this is not the one. It's an Adam Sandler movie. It has a ton of jump scares, which are scary, but it's really a comedy. And it's one of those scary comedies kind of in the vein of Scary Movie, but obviously it's not making fun of other scary movies. It's just, you're laughing most of the time, and then all of a sudden you're like, you jump because something actually scares you. A lot of times it's because it scares Hubie. But it's one of those movies that every time you get scared, you then laugh at the fact that you were scared because it's an Adam Sandler movie. But Hubie Dubois, it lives with his mother in the town of Salem, Massachusetts, and he is a descendant, great-grandson of a woman who basically called out everyone in town for the Salem witch trials and then was killed for being a witch, which is funny arbitrarily, but also, no, I mean, it's just funny, I guess. So Hubie's family has always been the defenders of Salem, and especially every Halloween, they come out to make sure everyone has a fun and safe time. And now it comes to Hubie that he needs to do that. And he has always lived in Salem. So in a way, Salem's a little bit like the hometown that you live in or you came from, where Steve was his bully in high school and is now the police chief. Familiar story? Violet Valentine is his crush from long time ago, and she's still there. She was married to Steve for a while, but they got divorced, and now she's just a great foster mom to some great kids. And he's been listening to the same DJ on the radio, and that DJ knows him. He's like the most frequent caller to the radio station. He's also like he's the guy who appointed himself hall monitor in high school when you guys didn't really have hall monitors, and then afterward is the one who like wants to be a cop but could never really be a cop. So like is a crossing guard or like takes on some other duties that are cop-like but without actually being one, except for in a good way, not in like the bad way, like I want to hurt people, but like I want to protect people. I'm just kind of like clumsy, I guess. But it's Halloween night and Hubie is going out on duty because of course he's a Dubois and that's what they do. And I made the distinction within 5 minutes of this movie starting. If you've seen The Waterboy, Huey Dubois is the Waterboy 20 years after his college experience when he's older and living in Salem, Massachusetts. Huey Dubois is essentially that character with the accent and the whole thing grown up. He's got this Louisiana accent, this like Cajun crawfish accent in Salem, Massachusetts, for reasons that escape me. I don't know, and that his mother doesn't have that accent at all, which they never speak about, but anyway, so Hubie's going out on patrol, and we see that basically the whole town just treats him like a laughingstock. He is the recipient of the ire of the town, and for reasons that aren't really clear. But it starts out with a light joke at the beginning that there are a couple kids throwing stuff at him, and he dodges it on the bike. This will grow as you watch the movie to an insane proportion. At one point, bears are throwing a log at him or something, and they beat the dead horse on that joke and many jokes. It's an Adam Sandler movie. You know where we're going with this. But nonetheless, he goes out on patrol and realizes that something strange is extra afoot. This Halloween, the empty house next door, which has been empty for some time, is now being renovated by a man named Walter Lambert. And his renovations are, he's sealing the entire house up with like wood planks on the outside. Someone mentions to Hubie that Walter Lambert's the name of a tombstone on the outside of town. And following that little trail for a bit, he investigates and finds out that there is a birth date but no death date. And he's convinced that Walter Lambert is some kind of immortal or a werewolf. He just thinks he's a werewolf. But while he's going about that investigation, he is also worried because he's got to be the protector of the town. But what he doesn't know is that Sergeant Steve, the leader of the police force, has gotten a message from the insane asylum up the road, I guess, that Richie Hartman, a boy who was born in Salem, Massachusetts, and who was a friend of Huey Dubois, has escaped, and he's headed back your way. And maybe he's coming for his revenge, which is similar to Halloween in ways, like the movie Halloween in ways, but in no way that will make that much sense. And during the course of the movie, we cut back and forth between the killer's perspective and everyone else, Hubie mainly, and that the killer has these triangle cuts around the eyes, and that's how they're seeing out. And when we meet Richie, he puts on a pig mask that has the pig nose at the front, which is triangle. And obviously, that could be some sort of illusion, perhaps. But then as darkness falls on Halloween, people start to go missing. And Hubie has one idea, Sergeant Downey has another idea, and it will take them coming together to solve this great mystery. But I don't want to go too far, so if you want to solve the mystery on your own, skip down to the time down below, because the spoilers are about to start right here. So, right off the top, the truth is that there is nothing haunted or abnormal or paranormal about the town of Salem or anything that's going on. Walter Lambert, who is an undead, a werewolf, is also a patient from the mental institution who escaped and just took a name off of a tombstone. Hubie doesn't realize that he has to dig down to get to the date of birth and death on the tombstone. And this dude literally just was like, hey, there's a name. I'm going to use that one and move in. He's insane and thinks that he was bitten by a werewolf and therefore is a werewolf, and Halloween is a full moon, so he's turning into a werewolf. but he's not. He glued some fake hands and hair on him and everything. He's not. Richie Hartman was his roommate, and Richie Hartman escaped because he is worried that his buddy escaped from the mental institution, is going to his hometown, the place he talked to about all the time, and that he may get in trouble. So he's trying to keep him out of trouble. And Rob Schneider as Richie Hartman, full blonde, looking younger than I've seen Rob Schneider look in a long time, but just there's Rob Schneider sitting there, and there's Steve Buscemi sitting there, and Adam Sandler, and I'm like, it's been 30 years. Are we really still doing this? We're still doing it, though. We're still doing it. But one thing that I don't know that the guys that I was watching this with picked up is that all the people who were disappearing were all the meanest people to Hubie. And then the killer, whoever that was, starts to endanger his crush, Violet Valentine's kids. And we go off on this little side adventure where they think that Violet is, and friend of the show, Roberto, was convinced Violet was a witch the whole time. And I'm like, where are you getting this? Like, she's a dumb Adam Sandler character woman where she loves this dumb character that's him for some reason. And he's just too dumb to see it. And guess what? She had a crush on him since first grade. He had a crush on her since second grade. Then there's this exchange about, like, what took you so long? Meaning, why did it take us till our 40s to admit this to each other? And he said, because I had a crush on our teacher. Meaning, what took him so long to get a crush on her in first? Why didn't he like her in first grade? Because he had a crush on the teacher. Which... And there is some really funny stuff about an exchange between the two of them where she talks about, like, the worst man she's ever been with, and that, of course, was Sergeant Steve. And Hubie's wearing a microphone, and Steve is listening in the van, so he gets to listen to Violet talk about him. So that's kind of funny. And Sergeant Steve is a character, Kevin James character. He's got the mullet, the same mullet he had in high school. He's just like every guy you know from your high school who still lives in your hometown. Like, that's him. Anyway, so the big spoiler for this whole thing is that Hubie's mom is the killer. That she is finally trying to get Hubie to stand up for himself, and she's going to do that by torturing and killing all of his biggest bullies and hoping that the town will see that that's the case. Now, it gets a little convoluted here because it seems like she doesn't want to kill them. She wants to teach them a lesson, but if they don't learn the lesson and she is going to kill them, she calls the news to come out. So the news is watching this situation. The cops show up. They bring the two mental patients with them because they couldn't leave them at the police station. Like, there's no jail. I don't know. Anyway, so everyone ends up in the backyard of Hubie's house at the end, and we figured out that those two guys are crazy. It's not them. It must be Hubie's mom that is doing all this. And she basically goes through this whole life lesson of, like, even when you're apologizing to him, you're still making fun of him. And he is literally trying to save your lives from me, and you're turning on him. Where do you get off? But of course, everyone learns a valuable lesson, and they start to value Hubie. And we close out the movie with Hubie having been elected mayor to replace the mayor who hid the fact that citizens were going missing on Halloween and didn't want to cancel all of the festivities because it was so important to the people that if a few people go missing, who cares? And one other note that isn't really a spoiler, but we're in this section, so I'm going to mention it. Tim Meadows is wearing the most excellent Halloween costume ever. I want to say it's the guy I learned about when I was in London doing a tour of the Tower of London, but he is a ghost who is headless, carrying his own head. So he's basically got prosthetic arms that are cradling his head and prosthetic shoulders up here with a neck. So that, like, it looks like he's carrying his own head, and obviously the waist is moved up and he just looks bigger, and you hide your own arms and you walk around. It is so great. I want that costume. Not that we have anywhere to wear it to, obviously, but I still want it. I think it'd be nice. But Hubie and Violet are together. Her kids call him Dad. They're her foster kids, obviously, so there's no relation. But Steve never got that treatment from her foster kids because, well, Steve's a douche. So Steve then is going to give him a ride to the Halloween festivities. It's 1 year later. And Hubie, because he's Hubie, doesn't get in the car. He gets on his bike and rides down the street. And instead of the people who were throwing things at him before, they're waving and saying hi and thank you. Because in these kind of movies, everything works out perfectly. But we're at the end of the movie. So that means we're also at the end of the spoiler section. Let's bring everybody back in and we'll close out this review right now. So before I get into my thoughts about the movie, I do want to talk a little bit about Adam Sandler. I don't personally give Adam Sandler a lot of guff, but I know that, more serious film critics do because, he's producing movies for the masses. But obviously, Everyman Movie Review, it's for the masses. And I think Adam Sandler has the most amazing career that anyone could ask for. He works with his friend to write a script. Netflix gives him millions of dollars to then go on vacation with all of his friends and film the movie. He puts like the same 12 people in every movie. They're just his friends. And he gets to go on vacation with them. He did that movie with, is it The Do-Over? Maybe not. With Chris Rock and David Spade and like all of these guys. They're just friends. And they were somewhere at a camp on vacation for 12 weeks while they're shooting this movie. He has found the greatest grift ever. And it's a grift that benefits all of us because then in the end we get movies. And I don't particularly like Adam Sandler movies, but I think when you're having an argument about what to watch any night, everyone can agree on an Adam Sandler movie if there's a new Adam Sandler movie out. And that's how we ended up watching Hubie Halloween. Because it's like, what are we going to watch? Well, there's that Adam Sandler movie. It's probably not going to be fantastic, but it'll be good and everyone can agree. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let's watch it. Also because Corey, who's a bit of a movie snob, was gone, so we figured if we started it before he arrived that he wouldn't object and we could get him to watch it, and it worked. I mean, but overall, it's not the kind of Halloween movie that you would really think of. It's not like scary, horror. It's not Blumhouse. It's not that kind of thing. But there is something really great about sitting around with your friends, finding a movie that you can all agree on, and just because Halloween's Halloween doesn't mean we can't have fun with it. And that, maybe I'm getting too old. Maybe I'm just an old man now. And I don't understand why people want to be like have the tar scared out of them all the time. But I don't want that necessarily. There's a place for it and it's good. But I'm not into the slasher movies anymore. Blood for blood's sake, forget about it. I will take an Adam Sandler Halloween movie over a slasher film anytime. And with that, I am going to go apply for AARP. So thanks. Really though, it is a fantastic movie. If you had a scale of 1 to 5, it's not a 5. It's not a 1. It's a 3. You don't feel like you've wasted the 90 minutes to watch it. It's something good you can watch with everyone around you. It's funny. It has some jump scares that will get you. And again, then you laugh at yourself for being scared by an Adam Sandler movie. And sometimes you don't get scared. You just laugh at it. But like Ray Liotta is playing Ray Liotta, which is fantastic. And Maya Rudolph and Tim Meadows are a married couple that are just, they continue to play the same married couple in a bunch of Adam Sandler movies. They're fantastic together. They should do a movie just them doing that. And Noah from Stranger Things is turning into a really adult actor. I am loving him. He's that kid from Stranger Things, but he is full on doing adult work in this movie. And it's an Adam Sandler movie. So give that kid something big and I bet you he will take it on. But overall, if you have kids, even if you don't have kids, but you're young at heart or old at heart, maybe like me, I think that you're going to enjoy this movie. And it's the perfect thing to watch during the Halloween season. When you're getting nostalgic for that, like those kind of movies from the 90s, not like slashers, but like the cutesy Disney Channel Halloween movies, Hubie Halloween will join the pantheon of these classic movies where you don't have to be super scared. It's okay to have Halloween theme and have a funny movie and just enjoy being together and being able to kind of talk through it and talk about stuff, but still pay attention. It's that good. So listen, if on Halloween you are looking to be terrified and not be able to sleep that night, this is not the movie for you. If you're looking to have a good time, an enjoyable time, a family-friendly time, this is a really good movie. It's got a couple of jokes that are adult-y, but they are hidden, just like, like Shrek, where the kids won't realize they're adult jokes. The adults will get it. Maybe there's some moments that are a little much, but I think it's fine. Michael Chiklis is also in here as a priest. If you are like Roberto, don't say Michael Chiklis is from Fantastic Four. He is from The Shield. If you're a little older, The Commish. Less and less hair during all of those. He is not just from Fantastic Four. Do not denigrate Michael Chiklis like that. But it has a star-studded cast. It's got a funny script. It was really well done. And I think it's something that you're going to want to watch year after year. It'll be something that pops back up next year when Halloween comes around, and I'm going to be excited to see it then. But we do have about another year until next Halloween, right? It's Halloween time already. And, it's been about a year that we've had the Everyman Movie Review. So that means we have plenty of content that you should check out. If you're sitting around on Halloween looking for something to do, a ton of stuff on this channel that you should look into. And maybe not just Halloween, because obviously you're going to have to wait until Sunday for the next episode of the Everyman Movie Review. If you're looking for something else to consume, I do a daily podcast, Rob Explains, where it's just talking about cool, random, and interesting things. And it's daily and it's short form. You can find that at Anchor or anywhere that you get your podcasts. But thank you for joining me for this episode. I am looking forward to bringing you yet another one on Sunday. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Happy Halloween. Have a great week.